Okay, let's see what got this time. Yesterday it opened extremely easily and I got surprisingly good cards, so I imagine today my problems getting it to open do not bode well for me. Yeah, I thought I'd rip the cards. Just imagine me literally crying during a YouTube video. So let's get started with the first card. If you want to know what's going through my head, it's that obviously I spent last time a lot of time talking about Rattata, and I'm just worried that it is going to come up because I again forgot to check if Rattata is even part of this collection, and knowing my luck it could be. Basic energy card, psychic this time. I'm getting at least one in every pack the last few times. Yesterday it was the third card in which I finally got a Pokemon, because the second one was a trainer. I wonder if that's going to happen again. No, and it's actually Darkrai. Darkrai's a mythical Pokemon, I think, yeah. You had to get it during an event, so obviously I've never had one. But it is quite a cool looking and nice Pokemon. My dog's behind me, sniffing at me. Dark Slumber. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now asleep. Also does 20 damage, that's cool. Night Cyclone. Move all energy from this Pokemon to your bench Pokemon in any way you like. I mean, that's a very powerful attack. I presume the damage is done to an opponent's Pokemon rather than to Darkrai, because that wouldn't... I mean, 120 with a HP of 130, if it had taken anything more than 10 damage, that would bring Darkrai down, so I suppose it could be... I imagine it isn't, but it could be a way of, I guess, doing a Parthian shot, I think is the term. To withdraw and give yourself an advantage from your benched Pokemon. It's a cool design though, all shiny and everything, and I mean Darkrai is quite a cool design in general, so I'm quite happy with that card. See what comes next. Captivated, the grass finish and everything, as you can see. So HP of 50, okay, for a first stage Pokemon that makes sense, and an attack of Reckless Charge with 30 damage, that's not too bad. This Pokemon also does 10 damage to itself, that's not quite so good. So let's see, it can do a maximum of 150 damage while fainting. Yeah, so 5 hits from Reckless Charge, its only attack, and it's down. I mean, 150 damage is not something to be sneezed at. It could, I mean, it would take out Darkrai, for instance. But obviously that's based purely on Captivated not taking any damage from the opponent's attacks, so that could be a problem. At least the card looks nice though. Next up is Mawile. I'm getting quite lucky, I guess, with obviously it's a good design, it's got the sort of psychic holographic effect on it, HP 100 and an attack of 30 damage for each psychic energy attached to this Pokemon. Yeah, so for every psychic energy it does 30 damage, so if you've got none that means it does no damage. I guess I should be glad I got a psychic energy in this pack then. I mean, I'm not going to be using it because I don't do the trading card game and just here for the collecting. But, oh well. Ah. A Gen 1 Pokemon, it's Lapras. Obviously, I remember it well. Ash's adventures in the Orange Islands, and then getting rid of it, and then I think in the new series he gets it back, or he meets it again. I mean, he definitely gets Pidgeot back, which, I mean, it was so sad when he abandoned, well, let's not say abandoned, let's be positive about it. He released Pidgeot to take care of the Pidgeys from Firo, but yeah, that was sad. So it's good he got him back, and he meets Lapras again at least. Poor Primeape though, completely and utterly abandoned. I mean, if I remember correctly, in a Japanese version, he basically gives Primeape to Anthony, the trainer, but even so, just the whole episode is about him bonding with Primeape, and then he just throws it away and gives it to a fighting type trainer, I guess. Anyway, Lapras has 2 attacks. One is Hail, which does 10 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon, but you don't apply weakness and resistance for benched Pokemon. It's very basic. And then Freezing Wind, which does 100. That's a good attack. Lapras has 110 HP, so I mean, for a Pokemon that doesn't evolve at all, that's pretty good. I'd say that's a very useful card. Although, personally, I have to find it hard to make good use of that Hail attack. This is a Pokemon everyone loves, Umbreon. I don't think I've ever met someone who didn't like Umbreon. I mean, the sort of black and gold design, it looks so brilliant, it looks so cool. And obviously it's an evolution, which they're always popular. HP 110, 2 attacks, Pitch Black Blade, which does 140 damage but requires recharge, so it can't attack after it's used it on the next turn. And Feint Attack, which does 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. This attack's damage isn't affected by weakness or resistance, or by any effects on that Pokemon. So, because it ignores weakness and resistance, as well as effects, I suppose a Pokemon that's resistant to dark attacks, and or has effects which is reducing its damage, it would be good, because it will just do 50 damage no matter what. There's no ability to reduce it from that. I'll just let you have another look, because I know Umbreon's going to be a popular choice. I know people like it. Wouldn't it be cool if I got Espeon now? I mean, cool but unlikely. Floatzel. Sinnoh is probably my favourite generation, if we don't factor in nostalgia, because then obviously nothing can approach Kanto, because all the sort of 90s charm, all the joy of watching it as a kid. So it's 2 attacks, a Swirling Tail, which requires you to flip a coin. If heads, put your opponent's active Pokemon and all attached cards into your opponent's hand. And Waterfall, which does 60 damage. Not bad at all. Okay, so what do we have next? Dolliv. Not a Pokemon I can say I recognise. It evolves from a Pokemon called Smoliv. That causes pain. So I'm going to have to breeze through this before the pain becomes unbearable. So HP of 80, Grass type, and it has 1 attack, Sunny Wind. Heal 30 damage from this Pokemon. Okay, so it has 0 attacks, it has a heal. I mean, I suppose it being able to heal itself is good, but it can't attack it itself, so I mean, on its own, it's kind of useless. It needs an offensive Pokemon to support it, because otherwise it's just delaying the inevitable, because all it can do is heal 30, which isn't a significant amount of damage. I suppose with a HP of 80 it's a pretty good amount, but yeah, that card needs support. Comes next, and Bonsai, and its one attack is called Blubbering. Yeah, I remember Brock's baby Bonsai. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused. 10 damage, now confused, but that HP of 30 that's bad. Yeah, Bonsai's not gonna last long. I mean, Sudowoodo's pretty good, pretty cool, pretty nice. But Bonsai, not quite so much. Togepi, I've got this card before. Yep, Rolling Tackle 20, Whiny Voice, allows you to choose a random card for your opponent's hand and shuffle it into their deck. So I've spoken about this card before, so I won't say anything else. It's just the exact same one. And the final card is, yeah, Cryogenal. Pretty sure I had this one as well. Yeah, first freeze. If you go second, it's your first turn. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. So if it's your first turn and you've gone second, that's pretty good, because you can paralyze the opponent's Pokemon. But otherwise, it's just 30 damage, 90 HP. Not bad, not brilliant. It's fine. Well, that's another set of cards opened. Pretty good set, especially the Darkrai. Looking at that again, and of course the Umbreon. Got the shiny finish obviously on the Darkrai, but not on the Umbreon. But the Umbreon's, I mean, design is still quite cool. Umbreon's design in general is pretty amazing. So it's a good set. Here's hoping they stay good. I've had good luck so far, and hopefully it will stay so. I've been Japan Animation, and I'll be back next week.